Hi guys, welcome to the Massage Tutor. My name is Joyelle, this is my friend Sammy, and today we're going to talk about the deltoid muscle. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back and joining me again. If you have not been here before, this is the textbook that I reference for muscles, bony landmarks, actions, all that stuff. Every textbook is going to differ a little bit from one to the other. So this is the one that I refer to just so you know. If you have this textbook, it's also a great idea. You can always follow along with me. So this deltoid muscle, just to kind of take a look at it here, is going to have these anterior fibers, posterior fibers, and then middle or medial fibers. So he's going to wrap himself all around the shoulder like this beautiful cap that sits here on top of the shoulder. Deep to him are going to be your rotator cuff muscles. So remember, your rotator cuff muscles, I'm sure you know, stabilize the shoulder joint. They keep that humerus in this glenoid cavity, this glenohumeral joint. They help to stabilize that shoulder joint, and then the deltoid sits on top like this beautiful cap again, okay? So we're gonna kind of break it down into the different fibers and what their actions do. So your anterior deltoid is really going to be the lateral 1/3 of the clavicle and then onto that acromion process here. And he inserts onto that deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. So if you feel the side of your arm there, and you can usually kind of see it too where it kind of dips in, that's going to be your deltoid process. When you touch that on somebody, it tends to be a little bit sensitive, so it's fairly easy to find usually on a client when you're working on them, because you will feel kind of that dip in there, and that's going to be that deltoid process where that deltoid inserts. All the fibers are going to insert onto that deltoid process. So the anterior fibers, again, on the front of the body here, the clavicle, the lateral process of the clavicle, the lateral 1/3 of the clavicle here onto that acromion, inserts onto that deltoid tuberosity. So again, this is the anterior muscle, so we are going to have those anterior movements. When this muscle contracts, we always bring insertion towards origin. Insertion towards origin. Of course, the shoulder is a ball and socket, so it has all kinds of different movements to it. So the anterior deltoid is going to flex the shoulder, flexion of the shoulder. He's also going to medially rotate or internally rotate that shoulder, so pulling that shoulder inward towards the body, and then he does a horizontal adduction. So in this horizontal plane here, he's going to add it to the body, adduction horizontally. So anterior fibers, flexion, medial or internal rotation, and then horizontal adduction of the humerus. The posterior fibers are going to be the spine of the scapula here. So this beautiful ridge right here, if you reach back on yourself, you can feel that pretty easily. You can find that spine of the scapula is pretty bony, pretty prominent. So posterior fibers are the spine of the scapula. And then again, insertion is that deltoid tuberosity here of the humerus. Now that we're in the back of the body, we're going to do posterior movements. So when that muscle contracts and shortens, he's going to create actions towards the back or the posterior side of the body. He is going to do extension. He is going to do a lateral or external rotation, and he is going to do a horizontal abduction of the body or of the arm. So we have our adduction and our abduction. Adduction, bringing closer towards the body, the center of the body. Abduction, away from. So we're either adding to with adduction or abducting away with abduction. So posterior fibers of the deltoid are going to do extension of the humerus. They're going to do a lateral rotation or external rotation, and then a horizontal abduction. So abducting away from the body. Anterior fibers, horizontal adduction. Posterior fibers, horizontal abduction, abduction. Anterior medially rotates, posterior laterally rotates, bringing that insertion closer to that origin. And then in between those guys on the acromion would be your medial fibers. So altogether, Your deltoid is going to come from the lateral 1/3 of the clavicle, your acromion process here, there, and then the entire spine of the scapula like so, and then all together they converge onto that deltoid tuberosity. So these medial fibers are really coming from this acromion process down to this deltoid tuberosity on the humerus. So these medial fibers are going to abduct the shoulders, abduction of the shoulders. So these medial fibers here abducting away from the body. So anterior deltoid medial rotation or internal rotation, he's going to do flexion of the shoulders, and then he's going to do a horizontal adduction. Horizontal adduction, anterior fibers. Posterior fibers, we're going to do extension of the shoulder. He's also going to do a lateral or external rotation of the shoulder, and he's going to do a horizontal abduction, abduction. So adduction, adding, and then abduction, abduction away from the body. And then all together with these medial fibers, we're going to simply abduct from the body. So abduction, again, bringing this insertion towards the origin, abducting that muscle, contracts, it shortens, it pulls that shoulder. Remember, the shoulder is a ball and socket, has a whole lot of movement to it, and this deltoid's going to do them all. Medial rotation, lateral rotation, flexion, extension, and then a horizontal adduction and abduction, and of course just good old abduction, taking away from the body. So that deltoid muscle, anterior fibers are going to do our anterior movements, posterior fibers are going to do our posterior movements, and all together they're going to abduct and of course create circumduction, which is all the actions of the shoulder put together and creating that circle. All right, guys, that's the deltoid muscle. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And if there's any other muscles that you would love to see next, I'd be happy to know what they are. Let me know what you think, and me and Sammy will see you soon. Have a great day.